So I just made my NCAA 2013 bracket, and I'm a little late, so these games on the edges that are blue, right there, those are games that have already been played, and the games in the middle in pen are the ones that I am predicting. So we'll start in the Midwest right here. I have Louisville beating Colorado State, and I have Oregon beating St. Louis, and then down here, right here, I have Memphis beating Michigan State, and Duke beating Creighton, and Louisville beating Oregon, and Duke beating Memphis to put Louisville and Duke in the Elite Eight. Now over here in the South, I have Kansas beating Western Kentucky, and Villanova beating UNC. And these three games have already been played. So Michigan is in the Sweet 16, and I have Kansas beating Villanova, which puts Kansas and Michigan in the Sweet 16. Now down here, I have UCLA beating Minnesota, and Florida beating Northwestern State, and I have Oklahoma beating San Diego State, and Georgetown beating FGCU. And now to get the other Sweet 16 matchup for this division, I have Florida beating UCLA and Georgetown beating Oklahoma to get Florida and Georgetown and Kansas and Michigan in the Sweet 16. Now for Kansas and Michigan, I have Michigan beating Kansas and Florida beating Georgetown to put Michigan and Florida in that division's Elite Eight. Now down here, I have these three games have already been played. So I have Gonzaga beating Wichita State, and Ole Miss beating LaSalle, and Arizona beating Harvard. And see this? I have Iowa State beating Notre Dame, and Ohio State beating Iona, and then Ohio State beating Iowa State. And so that puts Arizona and Ohio State in the Sweet 16 along with Gonzaga and Ole Miss. And I have Gonzaga beating Ole Miss and Arizona beating Ohio State to put Gonzaga and Arizona in the Elite Eight. Now in the East Division, I have Indiana beating James Madison, Temple beating NC State, and these three games have already been played. So I have Syracuse beating California, and Indiana beating Temple to put Indiana and Syracuse in the Sweet 16. And then down here I have these three games have already been played. So I have Marquette beating Butler, and Illinois beating Colorado, with Miami beating Pacific. And so I have Miami beating Illinois to put Marquette and Miami in the Sweet 16. And now Indiana, Syracuse, Marquette, and Miami are in the Sweet 16. And I have Indiana beating Syracuse and Marquette beating Miami. And so now our Elite Eight are Louisville, Duke, Michigan and Florida, Indiana and Marquette, and Gonzaga and Arizona. And so to get the Final Four, I have Louisville beating Duke, so Louisville is in the Final Four. Michigan beating Florida to put Michigan in the Final Four. Gonzaga beating Arizona to put Gonzaga in the Final Four. And Indiana beating Marquette to put Indiana in the Final Four. Now, for Louisville and Michigan, I have Michigan beating Louisville and Gonzaga beating Indiana. And now, and so the championship matchup is Michigan versus Gonzaga, and I have Gonzaga winning it all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave any comments, any disagreements or agreements, or anything you have to say about the video. Thanks.